Many times after we are hurt or we feel pain after a relationship or we have a breakup or we lose somebody, we will go into what is called the pendulum theory. And instead of having our heart hinged or be loving somebody or be invested in somebody or a situation or something or a job or whatever it may be, your pet might have passed away. Instead of having it there after this incident happens, we swing all the way to the other side and we say, never again. And this is part of life, and it's also part of really building up a life that essentially blocks off the opportunity to ever love like that again. And in this video, what we're going to talk about is not getting back to the other side, but at least just breaking a little bit free from the pendulum on the other side. I never get into these videos thinking we're going to have a breakthrough today. Oh, but I do get into it with the idea that we can possibly just nudge a little bit back to what we feel as our authentic selves, or like a healthy mindset on what can happen next. And I only say that because I never got to where I am now, and I will not get to where I'm going by taking leaps. Sometimes leaps happen. Sometimes you have paradigm shifts. But it doesn't always go like that. And I think a more accessible thing to people is to just nudge a little bit. And when we talk about having our hearts broken or being hurt or feeling emotional pain, it can happen in a litany of ways. And I won't go into specifics. I'll give you a story at the end, obviously. But the idea is that you are feeling or experiencing or in the vortex of that. And it's hard to see anything outside of it. So I'm going to read you what I have written here that prompted this video. Keeping an open heart after being hurt means that you are not imprisoned to the past moment. The pain is not imprisoning you. Being free of the past is as simple as it sounds, and that you recognize what it was, and you've also used it as a stepping stone from what you learned. And that puts us into the three things, but I think the word simple might be standing out quite quickly here, because a lot of people say, what do you mean simple? You know, my dog died, dog. I can't do that. And that's not the point. There's a difference between simple and easy. It is a simple function. It is sometimes too simple for our complex brains to understand. And we always think things are supposed to be a lot more complex than they are. We are storytellers, we are problem makers, we are problem solvers. And so sometimes we need to make a problem to solve, and we project that out on certain things. And in regards to this particular thing, how to essentially have a healthy mindset after a broken heart, you have to understand that yes, it is simple to get out of the pendulum theory, but it is not easy. And I'm not here to tell you that, you can simply do it right now. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. And the first step is the practice of having an open heart. When you have an open heart, at least for me, this is what this means. This video is not necessarily going to be by any means on a realm of like a to-do list, or this is how you go from point 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, A to D or whatever. This is personally from my experience only. So I really got no by the book stuff for you. Keeping an open heart means really leaning away from blame or judgment. And when you're feeling a lot of pain or emotional heartbreak, there's blame that you want to assign. I've watched families absolutely fall apart after a grandparent passes away, or somebody in the family passes away, and families can just fall apart. And usually it's because we feel some resentment or we want to point the finger somewhere, and it's perfectly natural. And there's no judgment to any of these families. I'm just saying, I'm telling you what I've seen, and this is from when I was a child. I've seen this happen, and stories that were told to me about other families, and in even factions of my family, history books. Whenever somebody passes away, there is an attempt to really close off your heart and start to make judgments, and that is perfectly natural. But it's also it puts you away from having an open heart, and it also puts you in a state of anger and retaliation. And when that happens, somebody's got to be the bad guy, and you got to have it out with them. And that Dear Lord. For me, that was a certain person in my life. And I'll tell that story at the end. That'll be the story. And like in heartbreak or loss, it doesn't even have to be somebody dying. It's just you feel pain and you don't have an open heart. And so you end up judging the situation, or here we go, you end up judging yourself. You end up making yourself out to be the bad guy. And we don't give ourselves a lot of grace, don't give ourselves a lot of love in those situations. And it becomes extremely tough because when we are the villain in our own comic book, we end up taking dire measures against ourselves. We end up really, really putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. We end up really, really letting the imposter syndrome live rent-free in the same bedroom as us. We really end up being these critical voices that tear ourselves down all the time. And so I want you to have an open heart. And that means just releasing judgment and filling it with grace. And that's tough. And it's not giving the benefit of the doubt. It may mean, hey, this person is doing their best and I got to draw a healthy boundary. It may mean, I have to take time to myself. It may mean I have to meditate. I got to really fall back and just, I can't get into it with these folks right now. I got to really fall back and just chill for a second. And that's the first thing, because having an open heart while feeling pain is allowing yourself to then, number two, feel the pain. Like, feel the loss, feel the heartbreak. When you can feel that pain, loss, or heartbreak without projecting it onto anything outside of yourself, it allows you to enter into the grieving process. And that process is so important because it allows you to really process what happened. You have to process it. Nobody could tell me a thing when I was going through a breakup. I mean, younger Toussaint, when I was going through a breakup, as a highly sensitive person, get out of here. What are you saying to me? I didn't even understand how deeply I could feel until I had a breakup in high school, and I was like, I think that I'm dying right now. It felt insane. Like I didn't even know what was going on. I couldn't sleep, felt like I was having a heart attack. Oh my gosh, I'm only 15. And all these things. And when you feel deeply like that, like you may be feeling or you have felt in those moments of pain, it feels extremely, terribly unnatural. And I say that because we're like, whoa, what's going on here? No. And the idea is that you're really feeling the gradient to which, the magnitude to which your heart can go. And when you allow that process of grieving to happen with no blame towards anybody else and just grace for yourself, self-love for yourself, you allow yourself to process the emotions. You allow yourself to process the emotions. And when we start engaging, and here's the catch, we're going to go from 1 to 2 and we're going back to 1. When you don't allow yourself to grieve or go through the process of the emotions and you're blaming somebody, you're like holding a grudge, or you haven't forgiven something, or you still really, really hold resentment for a person or thing outside of you, you don't allow yourself to process the emotions, and you hold on to it. You don't let go of it. It sticks with you. And there are some people, I've seen some people where trauma they don't even know that they're holding on to is still determining their life. And it's still at the wheel. They don't even know it. They've been in the passenger seat for so long, and letting this moment or this trauma, which is, again, no judgment to all this. This is just the way that I've seen it work. They allow the trauma to direct everything. And for me, the point is to really find out where the trauma is. Like find out, oh, what is that? Why? Well, how did that happen? Why did that happen? Okay, let me research that a little more. And when you allow yourself to grieve something, you're essentially able to process it and then see it for what it is, and then move forward and give that same grace and open heart to other people. I didn't understand that until, oh dear Lord, I might cry in this video. A friend of mine passed away, and a family friend came up to me, and she said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." Family friend, her and I usually, we're always facetious, cracking jokes and but I'd never seen her with that look on her face. And she said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." And I'd never been communicated to like that in that way. I'd never seen this person be that serious or that generous with their heart. And it showed me that there is a way to open up to other people and give them that grace or give them that love in those moments, regardless. And it was so powerful. I thought I didn't know how to compute it, but immediately it just made sense. It was like boom right there. It was like, thank you. I fully accepted it. There was no sarcasm. There was no BS about it. It was just right there. And it was like, here, have this. Like, you're going through a tough time and I'm so sorry for the loss. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is this feeling? Oh my goodness, I'm feeling my own heart. And so I took that and I've never forgotten about it. Ever. Never, ever, ever have I forgotten about that. And I just thought it just was I felt so seen in the moment of processing that grief or going through the grieving processes of losing this friend. So, one, getting into a space of an open heart, not judging, or at least being aware of the judgment that you're doling out. Two, essentially allowing yourself to enter the grieving process so you can process these emotions so they no longer hinder you. You're no longer imprisoned to them. And then three, I really think that what it is going forward is that it's I have this here written down as stepping stone from what you learned. And I really think what it can be going forward is you understand yourself more. So therefore you can be in community better. And when we understand ourselves more, we know when we need to step out and take that time, because I do not have an open heart right now. And I might just tell somebody about themselves right now that this might get really funky. I can't actually be here right now. And then it also it helps you understand who you are functioning in these spaces. And when we're able to keep an open heart and we don't just swing all the way to the side, or we do and we kind of like get back, we're like, I think I'm in my BS right now. I think I'm in my feels right now. let me just take some time to myself. I need to take a walk around the block. This is wild. Like, I really need to get back to one. As we say in film, before they say action, we start at the one, say action, move around. And then, they say cut, back to one. We go right back to where we began. And the big thing about keeping an open heart after you've been hurt is you're able to not only understand yourself more, but you understand life. That the universe is impersonal, things happen, and the only thing that you can do is how you're going to respond to it and how you're going to treat people going forward, or who you want to allow in your life or not in your life after this incident occurs. Like, that is up to you. And once you understand that you can have grace and non-judgment in that situation, you can also learn from it. And then you can also allow yourself the space to grieve something. It is so powerful because you're now keeping an open heart in situations that you would have felt like otherwise would have absolutely collapsed you. And so for me, the story I got going on in the beginning was, it wasn't a situation where I had a breakup. I mean, there's many breakups that I've had or situations where I felt heartbroken. But from the moment I was a kid, I'd always felt this particular heartbreak between my father and I because of a situation that happened in the beginning. That was it was essentially, my mom and dad got divorced, and essentially we moved from New Orleans to Minneapolis very immediately. And my father, I always had this heartbreak for the relationship with my father, but in my younger mind, I just said that, well, I have this heartbreak, it must be his fault. And I constantly held this judgment for my father, and I was really critical of him. I was so tough on the guy. Oh dear. And I wasn't able to really get through it until I did like this giant group therapy in 2020. And so the steps that we were talking about here, number one, non-judgment, give grace. I was able to let go of the judgment. It was simple once I learned about it, but it was one of the most incredulously tough things that I had ever tried to track down. It was like trying to find, it was like trying to catch a mosquito. And it was like, and the journey just kept going. It was wild. And I could not put it together. Like, why is it like this? Why are these feelings like this? And then come to a point of self-discovery, you learn more about it. And then it was simple. And I was able to forgive him, forgive myself for how much I had held on to the resentment. And then next, that came up was the grieving process. And I grieved this life that we had missed out on together. I always wondered what it would have been like, with him at swim meets, and this is on the third. And then I was really able to not only forgive that situation, but accept it. And I was like, we're here now. Well, we've arrived. I can't do anything about that stuff in the past. I want to hang out with you now, dude. And I think to him, like, it was so, it was so funny to him because like I had made this pivot, and then I had written a note to him because I was like, hey man, like things are going to change. At least the way that I interact with you. I think you should know that first before, I start pulling up, and I'm, really happy to see you. And, we worked it through, and we talked a lot, and not really the way that you would think it would happen. My father is, the way that we talk is just like different, but we went through this process that was so beautiful. And it was like, man, we're here right now. And I would just give him the biggest hugs now. And he's just like, whoa, what is this? And I'm like, dude, I'm so happy to see you, man. This is really cool. How's life been? And I know it's a little jarring to him because it's been this lifetime of not like that, but the reward at the end of having an open heart after feeling all this heartbreak over circumstance is that I get a relationship with my father, and I get a relationship with my mom, and the biggest thing, I get a relationship with myself, and I get to pass that grace, that love, that generosity on to everybody else because I've now learned it. And it's not just between my dad and I. I don't just say, yes, I have a great relationship with my father now, and I'll hold all of you still in resentment. No, like everything got free from there. And once you start to figure it out from there, you start to see somebody figure out a Rubik's Cube. They have to get one side done before they get the other. And then it starts to all together. I was able to start putting the pieces together in other things in my life, bigger things in my life, other relationships in my life, because I had gotten complete with the one that was seemingly incomplete for my entire life. And it was a super powerful thing. And feeling hurt from the situation, nobody intended to hurt me. Like it just was what it was. And a lot of children of divorced parents, or wouldn't even say that, a lot of people that experience exigent circumstances, and exigent is absolutely subjective. Somebody could get an A- and they could feel like their world ended, but to no judgment, they feel like the world ended. That's their intention versus impact. They feel that. And there's no judgment outside of it to say that their feeling is invalid. But a lot of people go through those exigent circumstances or those intense moments of emotional impact, and they can feel like extremely heartbroken. And that is absolutely okay. And it's totally perfectly natural to go into blaming something. It is natural to then carry resentment. And then it is natural to never allow yourself to grieve, and you're just holding on to this thing and you're holding the world complicit. And it is a beautiful thing once you can start the process of grieving, letting go of judgment for other people, allowing forgiveness to take action. And then you really have these amazing relationships with other people, or you see them differently, and you have yourself held in a different way. And you're no longer even in this pendulum. It's just all kind of disappeared, and voila, your heart is open. Lots. That was a lot for one video. I didn't intend on that. I just had this thing written down. I was like, oh yeah, let me go into this. Keeping an open heart after being hurt means that you're not in prison to the past moment. And that is a big part of it. That past moment no longer has control over your life. You do. All right. I hope you got something from this video. Yeah, it definitely gets emotional discussing these things, but I hope that you get something out of it in your journey to work through something, work through a heartbreak, work through a pain, work through being hurt, because this stuff is super, super important. And I think it's very important for you to at least be able to take the first steps on navigating what that is going to look like or what that's going to mean to you. So I wish you the best of luck in that journey, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.